You're listening to Road Dog Trucking News, live from the J.B. Hunt Million Mile Celebration.
Drivers, want to welcome you back to the program. And, man, we are flying through these 2 hours. It's really going quickly. And what a great treat for me, ladies and gentlemen, to finally get out of Dallas-Fort Worth for a day or so and then head up here to the great state of Arkansas. Got off my cul-de-sac, and, man, I am live at J.B. Hunt's World Headquarters. Good to be with you wherever you may be listening to the sound of my voice across North America. You are welcome to join in the conversation. It's 888-876-2336 across North America. I have got Greer Woodruff with me from J.B. Hunt and also Craig Harper along as well, and wanted to get into some hours of service questions that are going to be coming up and get into technology and some more of that. And Craig, first, though, what a great celebration to see these drivers coming down the stairs a little while ago, and to be here and to be able to broadcast that live was absolutely incredible. Thank you for that.
You know, we were sitting here in the lobby of the headquarters, and I'm staring at, Mr. Hunt on the wall, and one of his sayings was, "Today's big day.
Yeah.
Today is going to be a big day." Well, today was a big day.
Yeah.
It's incredible just being able to celebrate with these drivers and their families, and such an awesome group of people, and we're so thankful we have them.
And the big smiles on the family faces was just amazing to me, because some of the family members in the background taking photos, they were waving, smiling. One of the kids had such a beautiful smile. For his dad that was up here. That's got to be an absolute inspiration, is to see the great work of the drivers that you've got, and then to see the family support. That's wonderful.
Absolutely. When they were coming across the breezeway there, walkway, and we had the band playing and people lining the aisles there and just celebrating and cheering, and you could see all the high-fiving going on, and then people breaking out in tears, some of them breaking out in sweat, because these drivers aren't used to having thousands of people lined up celebrating and cheering for them. So, awesome event, and again, we're so proud of these 2, 3, and 4 million mile drivers.
I was telling Brittany a little while before we started the show, let's do this again next week.
These people are worn out. You go in that room, they say, "Good grief, we've been on the go for 36 hours," but they've had a blast. We fed them well. We had a band playing last night. You were there. You
Absolutely.
It was some people on the dance floor. I think Steve got out there with Shelley on the dance floor.
He did.
So
that's going to be on YouTube very soon, but we won't tell Steve that.
That's right. But it was a great time.
It was, and visiting with those drivers at the celebratory dinner was really great. You could see the appreciation on their face, Greer, because they really appreciate the fact the company is stepping up, and they're saying, "You know what, Mr. Ms. Driver, you are very, very important to us," and that's got to really help you in your role when you deal with the drivers.
That's right, it does. We implemented this Million Mile Award program back in 1996 with the intention of rewarding and recognizing people who had been with us a long time and helped us build this company to what it is and did it safely. And so to recognize and reward these people who have got 2, 3, and 4 million mile drivers, miles behind them, is just an enjoyable thing to get to do.
You've got a big job here. You've got a really big job.
I do, and guys like this make the job a lot easier and a lot more fun.
You are head of security, safety, and driver personnel. And from what I'm reading here, you were the recipient of the Highway to Victory Award during a recent ATA Management and Conference exhibition. Was that the one in Austin?
Yes, it was.
Okay, and I was there for that, as a matter of fact, and we were doing a live show from there. Safety is at the root of this organization, isn't it?
It is.
Live and breathe safety.
We started a safety culture over 20 years ago, and the 2 operators you spoke to a minute ago, Bill and Brad, are totally committed to safety, and we know that's the way to operate, and our drivers need that. We want them to get home to their families every time that they're out on the road, and so we are totally committed, and our drivers are just as committed as we are.
I know there's such a great open door policy here that drivers can come to you with any questions, remarks, or observations. Are you getting questions from drivers, any feedback about what the FMCSA is considering with the hours of service? I know it's gone on to the OMB, Office of Management and Budget, then it's going to go back to the FMCSA and open it up for comments and things like that. What are you hearing from your drivers about flexibility, the clock, the 11 and 14? Are you getting a lot of feedback about that?
I think that the drivers feel like the 14 does kind of pinch them a little bit, and they'd like a little flexibility with that. They feel like the 30-minute rest break. They would like to have more discretion of when they use it and use it at their own discretion when they feel like they need to. But other than that, I think they are accustomed to the rules that are in place today. They're willing to operate under whatever the rules are. They're going to operate. I think our drivers have demonstrated that are here that you can operate in compliance with the regulations and operate safely and make a good living.
Yeah, I know, Craig, that the company's been on ELDs for a number of years. And you've seen the data, you've seen the information that's come back from the ELDs. I mean, the ELDs have made the industry safer, drivers safer, more profitable. What are your thoughts there?
Really, is the hours of service hadn't changed much through all the years, right? It's what the ELDs are encouraging people to stay within the hours of service. The ELDs did not change the hours of service; it's just a better way of monitoring it. And here's what I tell drivers. Understand how valuable your time is. And when somebody abuses that time, it's costing you and it's costing the entire industry. And by having ELDs and getting that clock started and having to stop, 14 hours later, 11 hours of drive time, we all know how it penalizes the driver for those delays. And those shippers and receivers need to change the way that they respond to loading and unloading our freight. And there are people that are doing that. Yeah. And also with technology, you have a lot of the rating of the shippers and receivers. So, it's coming to the top about which locations are having these delays. And the customers, at a certain level, they want to know where they're causing that pain because they know in the long run that's going to drive their cost up. Because in the long run, there's going to be carriers and drivers that say, I'm not going there anymore because you do abuse my time. Too long have all the inefficiencies of the supply chain falling on the shoulders of the driver. And so ELDs has really brought that to the forefront. So I believe all drivers should welcome that and that they need to get paid right for the amount of hours that they're working.
And looking at it, too, from your standpoint, Greer, the drivers that are coming to you and saying, hey, I'm at XYZ shipper, and they're holding me up, they're doing this and this and this. You need that feedback, don't you?
We do. We want that feedback, and we want to try to help the driver resolve whatever that issue is. That may be us calling the customer and having a conversation. It may be that we're going to help the driver get from that customer location to a safe haven somewhere. And the regs allow us to do that. So we'll work with the drivers and with the customers to try to address and make sure that we can do things safely.
You mentioned getting to a safe haven. Do you get a lot of questions about personal conveyance? I get a lot of questions about that to the program. When can you use it? When can you not use it? Things like that. Probably, I'm sure, part of the daily dialect sometimes.
Yeah, that's a concern with how do you administer it? Okay. How do you monitor it? I mean, independent contractors, they can make those decisions, and they're under their own authority, and they're driving their own truck, and they have their own insurance. In our case, we have the liability. Yeah. And when you have a large fleet like we do, we have to try to do things that we can control and ensure they're within the regulations, and personal conveyance is a challenge for us.
Looking at this, too, from the technology that is coming on board into the industry these days, I mean, we've got the ELDs, we've got lane departure warning systems, collision mitigation, and things like that, but drivers are making it work. Case in point, look at the drivers that were honored here today, 3 million accident-free miles, 4 million accident-free miles. They're taking the technology, they're embracing it, and they're making it work for themselves and for the company, aren't they?
I had a couple last night tell me that this is the safest truck that they've ever operated. Yeah. They like to put it in cruise control and that the truck helped them maintain a safe following distance. They have helped us test these systems before we put them into place. So they're embracing the technology, and I think they view it as helping them do the job better.
And, Craig, when you talk to folks in D.C. about safety overall for the industry, what do you tell lawmakers about what's going on in trucking? I know you speak with lawmakers on the state level, federal level, about the industry overall. We're making great strides. What can maybe the federal government do to help maybe ease some of the concerns for the drivers out there?
Well, and, I applaud the government for willing to listen to the drivers and get all the feedback and take that into consideration. I think we need to get this data from the LDs and make decisions in the future based on facts, not just based on hearsay, emotions, feelings, because sometimes what you think is going on really isn't the case. And so with the data, you can see how many hours a driver should be able to drive. But let's quit, changing them every few years and tweaking them. Let's get the data and see where it needs to go from there. But regardless, whatever the hours are, the drivers need to be able to make a great living. It's a hard job. It's a job very important to our country. So we've got to find a way as an industry to continue to retain the great drivers that we have and attract new drivers in. And Greer does a great job. He visits D.C. more than I do, and he's on more panels there. So he may have some more comments on that.
Yeah, what do you think? What do you think about that? Maybe more input to the government where they can help understand what's going on.
Well, I think they've done a good job of having some listening sessions and receiving comments from all interested parties, including drivers. And so I'd encourage drivers to comment. When there's relevant regulations that are going to affect them, they need to comment. Don't just take it passively. We need their participation in this. But I feel like this administration is not looking to put onerous regulations on the industry.
Sure.
They seem to be more receptive to input from industry than maybe past administrations. And so I think we've got their ear.
You are certainly very much in the forefront when it comes to the safety discussion. I know you've been part of the Research Advisory Committee meetings with ATRI, the American Transportation Research Institute. I've got the greatest respect for Rebecca Brewster's group. They do great work, and you've been in those discussions where safety is talked about. I know they've got their research meetings coming up again next year, but that is a great process, these Research Advisory Committee meetings where people can offer feedback, input, and suggestions. That's the dialogue that's needed to keep the important message about safety rolling.
I think so. They do a great job of helping to prioritize what are the relevant issues for the industry, how do we go collect the data and do the research that Craig's talking about that can help inform us and help us make good decisions as an industry. So it was a great pleasure to work with them. I'm not on the committee now. We have another representative from J.B. Hunt that is, but a very great organization.
All right, gentlemen, I'm going to get ready to go to a break. I appreciate you joining me for a few minutes. And again, that's Craig Harper, Executive Vice President of Operations, Chief Operations Officer, and Greer Woodruff, Senior VP of Safety, Security, and Driver Personnel at J.B. Hunt Transport Services. And we are again celebrating the great drivers here today. It's a celebration day at J.B. Hunt's World Headquarters. Gentlemen, thank you for spending a few minutes with me.